Welcome in to Top Rope Renegades. This is your NXT review from March 26th, 2024. I'm Kurt alongside RK. And RK, my friend, how are we doing?
It's Tuesday night. We just got done watching NXT. Banner of a show. I mean, they're just putting it all together right now. We're 1.5 weeks out from WrestleMania, and more importantly, we are 1.5 weeks out from Stand and Deliver, and that has potential to be just as big as a show of WrestleMania this year. So, I mean, looking forward to that. Overall, great show, and it was just felt like they're just getting ready to put on some banner matches.
It was a really good NXT, and we're going to get into it here in just a second, talk about what we liked and didn't like. But a little quick personal news update. As I have mentioned, I am sitting down this Friday at 11:30 Eastern Time with Ruby Soho, AEW superstar. It's my first ever, I guess you could call it, professional interview I've done. I'm trying to think if I've done any in the past. Maybe a couple politicians when I worked in political radio, which don't even get me started on that road. But other than that, this is my first big professional interview coming up.
We don't talk politics on this show?
I'm not. I don't. Politics is politics, and I'll just say when I worked in it for a year and a half, and it is a very small sample size, it really weighed down on me, and it hurt my head. So, me and politics,
that's fair. I mean, you said it last night. We watch wrestling to escape from the world. So I guess we should definitely probably be leaving the politics out of things.
Yes. So, yeah, I will be sitting down with Ruby Soho this Friday. Can't wait to do that. And I got my email back from AEW. I will be representing the radio station and myself and this podcast at AEW Dynamite on April 17th, 2024. They'll be in Indianapolis, Indiana. Got myself a press ticket, so that's pretty cool. It's my first press ticket, I guess. Yeah, it's my first time ever getting something like this. So really looking forward to that. We'll obviously dive into AEW on the next episode when we talk about Dynamite coming up. But yeah, just some personal news.
You couldn't get me a ticket? What are we doing here?
Right. You just hop on your private jet from Canada, get down here to Indianapolis, and we'll get you in there.
I would have made it happen. I'm your assistant. I mean, everybody has an assistant, right?
Assistant. Actually, what's funny in the email, they said it was one ticket. The ticket will only admit you, not your colleagues, not film crews, etc. I was like, all right, well, I'm solo doling it. Hopefully, I'll make some friends down there. Definitely looking forward to it. So that is coming in April, and obviously we won't be able to record. Well, we might be able to record when I get home, depending on how I'm feeling. But yeah, looking forward to that. That is a little personal news. And now it is time to get personal with NXT. This was a fantastic episode. We kicked things off with Dijak, who is the best follow on social media. If you don't follow him, do it. He's hilarious. He will ratio you in a heartbeat. He is taking on Shawn Spears to open up NXT. And this match was hard-hitting. It was really good. What was your biggest takeaway from Dijak and Spears?
What is up with these chops? I mean,
yep.
It's hard. All of them are stiff. From last night, from SmackDown, it seems like in the last month, chops have become a thing outside of Gunther's world, which we all know Gunther's chops are probably some of the deadliest in the business, but everybody's doing it, and it just looks like it hurts. And I mean, I think it just adds a whole new element. They're really leaning into that strong style, and I dig it.
Yeah, me too. It's the chops are going. They're echoing around everywhere they're at. I wrote that down in my notes. Hellacious chops is what I wrote because they were aggressive. It was a very hard-hitting match. We had a nice crossbody from Shawn Spears early from a top rope diving stint. Dijak is a big man, and he does things that big man, quote unquote, shouldn't do, but he does it with perfection.
Yeah, the suicide senton was a thing of beauty. A man that big shouldn't be flying like that, but when they do, it looks so pretty. And Dijak just keeps getting better here. I mean, Shawn Spears is an amazing opponent to have in the ring. They're both seasoned veterans. They're gonna really elevate each other. But Dijak just gets better, and I love to see it because we all we all know T-Bar and that whole fiasco up on the main roster, and I'm so glad they gave him another chance because Dijak's killing it right now.
He's going to get himself a "You Deserve It" chant one of these days, and I can't wait for it. Hard-hitting match, as we said, banger of a match, start to finish. Great way to open the show. Little spot in the middle. Shawn Spears had set his steel chair next to the steps, and Joe Gacy was underneath the ring, and he just took the chair and started playing some mind games with Shawn Spears. Led to a little bit of a distraction for Spears. And then we get to the finish. Dijak hits him with a Feast Your Eyes to pick up the victory. And then Joe Gacy playing mind games with Shawn Spears. So your winner in that match was Dijak by pinfall. And then we get to backstage.
Let's just
Go ahead.
go back to that. The winner of that match was Dijak. I mean that Feast Your Eyes. It's a beautiful version of a GTS. Call it what you want. It looks great. But the real winner of this match was Gacy, hands down. You know my love for Gacy. I want to see him on the main roster one day and doing his things because he just has a character to him that not a lot of guys can pull off and make look believable.
Yeah, I think that's setting up a match for Spears and Gacy at Stand and Deliver, which I figure probably will have some hardcore implications with it. It'll be a fantastic match. Going backstage, we have some auditions taking place for who's going to host Stand and Deliver. You have Metaphor, Andre Chase, Malik Blade, Idris Info, Brittany Reese, Hank and Tank are back there. And I think we got Andre Chase coming out, being very excited that he effing killed that shit. They bleeped all that stuff, of course, but I love Andre Chase's gimmick. And then Metaphor going in right after him. So, what do you feel about a host of not just Stand and Deliver, but host of WrestleMania?
Are you talking them? Are they hosts of WrestleMania? Well, like, is that what they're going for? Or is it just for Stand and Deliver?
This is just for Stand and Deliver. There were auditions for Stand and Deliver, but I think my question is more so like, how do you feel about hosts in general for these big events? Because there may be a host. They haven't announced it for WrestleMania, but there definitely is one for Stand and Deliver.
Yes. I mean, in the past we've had hosts. I mean, off the top of my head, Gronk hosted a WrestleMania. That was during the COVID era. We had Titus host the WrestleMania. I like it. It adds a little element. It gives the guys a chance to chit chat with the talent and kind of set up all the stuff that WWE is doing from a media standpoint as well. I like it. It adds a little element to it. You can set up some things with it, so it helps along storylines and whatnot.
The one that stands out to me is Snoop Dogg and The Miz, and just Shane McMahon coming back and tearing his quads. And
great job on Snoop Dogg improvising and going for the people's elbow. That was I did love that moment. That was pretty cool. I mean, kudos to Miz as well because he realized what was going on and got Snoop to do something with him on that and save kind of like that whole segment. So yeah, absolutely.
Before we get to our second match of the night, we get a Roxanne Perez promo building up for Stand and Deliver, and this was just her saying, "Look at the old me. She was just happy to be here. She had stars in her eyes, and she said, honestly, watching the old me makes me sick. The old me is dead." Just building up to her match with Lyra Valkyria at Stand and Deliver. Then we get to the second match. It is the one and only RK's favorite, Thea Hale with Chase University taking on Jasmine Nix. JC Jane ringside with her. Thea Hale is a ball of energy. She is awesome to watch. What did you think of this match?
It was a tight little match. It really, it was quick. It was only about 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes long. It was perfectly fine. It was way more about the angle that they're setting up between JC and Thea. Nyx has a ton of potential. I think we saw a lot out of her in
that Pele kick she hit was really smooth. That was the move that stood out to me from her.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think she has a lot of potential. So really, the match they would have had to do is all about the angle with JC Jane. And yeah, they just had their quick little match, looked good, and they moved on.
Yeah, there was the one spot that stood out to me was JC taking Andre's towel, going to throw in the towel into the ring. Then it gets saved, and then Chase U gets ejected from ringside, which you were like, referees, come
Yeah,
on.
no, I don't know what that referee is doing. Like, come on, that clearly they weren't interfering with the match. So yeah, it's just one of those, things. Just the
Mhm.
heels always have to get the heat. But
Yep.
yeah, no, I mean, it was a cool little spot. I liked it in the end.
Thea Hale ends up getting the win in by submission. And then there is a run in while Thea is having a brawl with JC Jane. Kia James and Izzy Dame attack Hale from behind. 3-on-1, and here comes Fallon Henley and Kalani Jordan coming in to make the save. I assume next week we probably get a maybe a 3-on-3 match between those three ladies, and then I hope, and I feel confident in saying we're gonna get Thea Hale versus JC Jane at Stand and Deliver.
The way they're setting it up, you would think so. Even if it's like a little bit of a filler match in there. We all know that NXT pay-per-views don't quite follow the same directive as a WWE pay-per-view. They tend to be more focused on the big matches, get in, get it done. Focus on the big rivalries. But I think Thea and JC could have a really good match at Stand and Deliver, be a good platform for them, and just kind of really give them a place to showcase the young talent of NXT, because I mean that's the whole point of NXT, is to showcase your talent. So we'll see what happens. Nothing's set up, but I mean it definitely could be a good match. There's a lot of animosity there.
Then we get into what I can only describe as some motion picture type promo video, behind the scenes, whatever you want to call it, called Prime Target, Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. It was insinuated that this has happened before. I don't remember watching older Prime Targets, but this was just there was three parts throughout the night. We'll just talk about all of them right now. It was just building this Trick Mello story, and a shout out to Jeremy Borash, who is working in NXT now. It's a name that's familiar to me. I don't remember exactly what he did, but I've heard the name before. But he's the one behind producing these things. This was incredible to watch from part one to part three. It was just a build of here's how we got here. Here, update just recap everything that has led to what we talked about potentially being the main event of Stand and Deliver. And you even had big names like Booker T, Randy Orton, CM Punk, and Cody Rhodes in this motion picture thing, I'll keep calling it, to just give this match even more anticipation and hype for Stand and Deliver. What was your thoughts on it?
Champagne wishes and caviar dreams. That's what Booker says, and
Yep.
it kind of fits because they're both want to be at top. They both want to be the big names of the WB. They both have the talent to be the big names of WB. I mean, we had a whoop that trick chant during a Rock promo. Like, the guy's over, and Mello is so good in the ring, and he's right up there. And this might be, I mean, you take away Cody and Rock, that feud right now. This is top feud in the business right now, and their match is, if it should be, if it's not, but it has to be the main event of Stand and Deliver. I mean, the Ilya Tony match for the title, that's a big match, but it doesn't have the same fire that this rivalry has right now. They're going to blow the roof off that place, whether the match is first, in the middle, or last. They are going to be the biggest match of the night.
They even had Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa in this motion picture trailer, and Ciampa said that this is the biggest match in NXT history, and that's coming from a guy who was a part of potentially the biggest matches in NXT history with Johnny Gargano. I'm really excited for Stand and Deliver. Trick Mello, it's going to be fantastic. This is the definition of a match that doesn't need a title. So looking forward to it. The third match on the night, the Lola Vice Open Challenge. She posted on social media, said she had an open challenge, and she comes out to the ring, talks her talk, and who else but Bret Hart comes.
Bret Hart.
Natalia. Natalia answers the open challenge. That was a bit of a shock. Didn't really see that one coming.
Yeah, that was wild. I mean, WWE is throwing their big name talents down to NXT, and I get it. It helps further along the development of these young stars. just seeing the bigger names coming down, giving matches to these guys, showing them, what the big boys and the big girls do up on the main roster. I like it. I've always been a huge fan of Natalia. She's a trooper. She's a veteran. She's been in the WWE for easy 20 years. Don't quote me on that number, but it feels like she's been around forever. She's held titles. She's done it all. She's the daughter of a Hall of Famer. You can't say more about Natalia. I loved her showing up and it's a good match for Lola. Like, it really gives Lola a chance to show what she has.
Well, all I really took away from the match itself was that Lola needs some more time. There was a couple moments where it was like, oh, all right, she'll get there. I think she's got all the potential in the world. She's good on the mic. She's got the look. It's just the in-ring needs a little work. And when you're working with someone like Natalia, you're going to learn a lot. The other thing that was from this match, Carmen Petrovic showed up. She's had beef with Lola Vice, so that could be setting up Carmen Petrovic and Lola. Other than that, I really didn't have much more with this match.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very awkward start to the match, you could say. There was a couple missed spots there, but in the end, I mean, Lola settled in. It might have been the nerves. It's hard to say. I mean, these are young talent, but in the end, I mean, it settled down, and they got through the match, and it didn't. That the first two spots kind of faded from my mind towards the end of the match because it started to look better. So I chalk it up to nerves.
Yeah, I'm sure Natalia helped her through that, and Lola learned from that match, and she's learned a lot. She's only going to get better. 100% believe that. Then we cut to outside. Sean Spears just saying he's disappointed in his loss, and from the heavens, a steel chair just comes out of nowhere, and it's Joe Gacy on top of the performance center saying, "Hey, I forgot to give you this," as he threw it from the heavens above the performance center. I thought that was it's hilarious.
I love it. Joe is just that comedic relief. He's like the mankind of NXT. He's got that edge, so he loves the hardcore matches, and he's hilarious. And the best whole part was that he's like, "Oh, Obi, I didn't see you there. Hope you didn't think I was throwing that at you."
Obafemi's just there and stops Spears in his tracks with a foot on the ladder. He's like, "Oh, almost hit you. My fault." So that funny little thing. We're getting Sean Spears, Joe Gacy, as we said earlier, probably coming up between those two, a match at Stand and Deliver. We get a Sol Ruka vignette, her talking about her injury that Bianca Blair Davenport gave her. 9 months rehab, and that next week it's payback for Davenport. It was just a good little vignette. I think Sol Ruka has a lot of talent. She's very athletic. She's looked good from what I've seen in this small sample size. So I'm interested. Did this do anything for you?
I don't remember the injury angle from beforehand.
Right. We really weren't that in depth with NXT.
I'm not 100% sure it worked out. I'm sure it's one of those situations where Sol injured her knee, and they're like, "Well, let's do something with this. Put you on the shelf and make it a storyline, and then coming back to it." So obviously, we're seeing the repercussions of that now. I do like the one thing Blair said. It's a good thing. It adds to that heat. Is she wants to see how well the doctors repaired her ACL because she's going to send her back on another road to recovery. So it's setting something up. I mean, the dynamic's not there yet for where I'm really feeling the heat between the two, but it could definitely go somewhere. So I'm sure it did what it had to do.
We get to match number 4 on the night. The NXT champion Ilya Dragunov taking on Channing Lorenza Stacks. This was I wrote it's a good match. It's a build for the Stand and Deliver NXT Championship match with Tony D'Angelo. Stacks isn't that bad in the ring, but boy, Ilya Dragunov is so damn good.
Yeah, it leads us to the question: is he ready to make the hop up to the main roster?
We had this conversation.
We did, and I kind of dig it. I mean, I think, Ilya being the foreigner, Gunther being the foreigner, that could be a great match.
And they put on banger matches in the past. I think it'd be fantastic.
Absolutely. I'm not 100% sure Ilya's quite there yet, or where they would have a spot for him on their main roster. I think Ilya's going to take this match with Tony. But, for a quick little match, 5 minutes long, Stacks definitely got his time to shine. He looked good, and I was surprised by that. I haven't really paid a whole ton of attention to the D'Angelo family, but Stacks looked good, and that just gives me a little bit more hope that, Tony can put on a banner with Ilya, come stand and deliver.
The big takeaway I also had from this was Ilya's just selling ability, and he was
Oh,
still
so
selling it
good.
when they went to him backstage. His hand, Ilya is really really good. I can't wait for like I keep saying to every match, but I can't wait. I can't wait for Stand and Deliver. I think him and Tony will put on a great match. We go to commercial and then we come back. It's the Good Brothers running into the Wolf Dogs, and Braun Breaker is he's tan and he is it's just hilarious, man. I don't even know how else to say it. Braun and Baron are so funny together.
Dude,
Baron,
why are you so tan, man?
and he handed him the bottle of the sun.
The sun.
Like the get it.
Go outside, Baron. Maybe you see a little sun yourself.
And then I forget exactly what Baron said. It was something that obviously everybody should know, I guess. And Braun said, "Yeah, I know that." He had no idea. He was clueless. But the Good Brothers is, by the way, we're the OC obviously on SmackDown with AJ and Michin, and now they're being billed in NXT as the Good Brothers again. So that's interesting. They tell them, hey, we want a 1-on-1 match or 2-on-2 match per se at Stand and Deliver. So don't mess it up when the Wolf Dogs take on Alpha Academy in the main event later on. I think we're gonna get Good Brothers Wolf Dogs at Stand and Deliver. I'm interested to see if the titles change hands and we see the debut of a man named Tamatonga.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Tamatonga recently signed with the WWE. Long time member of New Japan, long time member of the Bullet Club, and we all know that the Good Brothers were also. I mean, Doc Gallows, Luke Gallows was one of the original founding members of the Bullet
Mm-hmm.
Club. So, sorry,
Both of them, yeah,
was it?
both of them.
Yeah, both of them. So they've both been there. They've both been with the Bullet Club. Tamatonga is an old Bullet Club member. The OC. I mean, obviously the Bullet Club's probably copyrighted outside of being used in WWE, but the OC was WWE's Bullet Club. You can't deny that. It's Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, and AJ Styles. So yes, now that AJ Styles kind of gone on to back to running the solo scene and the Good Brothers, I'm glad that they're getting screen time again because they are such a great tag team. I love watching the matches. Carl Anderson just last week went hard. I'm just like, this might be the best Carl Anderson in years. And Luke Gallows is just a big dominating force in the ring. So I just love watching the matches, and I'm so happy that they're getting some time to shine, even if it is down in NXT. It's not a bad thing. NXT is a big show. I don't really care what anybody says about NXT. It's a big show in my mind, and I think they deserve what they're doing down there. So
Then we get to the very interesting promo segment with Ridge Holland. There's quite a few things I take away from it. It's basically him just going down a list of people, thanking people, and it's coming across as a very retirement, stepping away segment. And we were talking about it. You were thinking it's a work, and from what I read on the internet is there's been comments and DMs and messages to Ridge and his family ever since the injury he caused to Big E, putting him out of competition. And I really do. Part of me hopes this is a work because if the internet community, the wrestling internet community, I should say, has caused this much mental damage to Ridge Holland to the point where I quote, stepping away from in-ring competition indefinitely. He didn't retire necessarily. He did say indefinitely. I hope he gets better. I hope that he's okay. People are toxic, man. If it caused this and this is real, I feel terrible for the guy. Shit happens in the wrestling ring. It does. It's sad and unfortunate, but you shouldn't be commenting and it's basically threatening an individual because they hurt somebody you like. It's a really a tough situation because I don't know where it's going, and like I said, I do really hope it's a work, to be honest.
Yeah, work, or maybe it's like a mix of a work and a
A
shoot,
work
and
shoot.
it's it's a work that's turned into a shoot that turned into work. However you want to look at it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the people need to lay off of, like they did to Ava a few weeks back, and they're doing it to Ridge. And I mean, Big E's forgiven the man, and Big E's the one whose career has been most likely ended because of what happened. And Big E has come out and forgiven him. This stuff happens in the wrestling ring. We do not need to be attacking people for an accident that happened in the ring. I am starting to question now the whole Ridge Holland angle on Ilya a few months ago. Now that might have been a bad move.
Yeah.
Probably didn't help the situation any. Obviously, WWE likes to live on that edge. Um, but in the end, people just got to lay off of that. It's not cool. I mean, one career got ended by an accident, and now another career could be potentially ended because people can't lay off a guy. I'm sure he feels horrible about what he did. It's an unfortunate situation, but it's not necessary. And I just hope that he can come out of this and get back in the ring because we want to see.
Yeah. So I mean, just to sum all that up, hey, internet wrestling community, quit being toxic douchebags. Like it's literally don't try this at home because stuff like this could happen. So if it is really something that he's battling with, I hope he gets better. I hope he does return to in-ring competition and everything works out in favor for him. So after that, we get Lyra Valkyria. Just a quick little promo building up her match with Roxanne Perez at Stand and Deliver. Just we're building to it. And as she ended up, she said, Stand and Deliver, it's me and you, and I'm gonna do anything to keep this title and everything to keep it the hell away from you.
Yeah, I mean they're building it. I'm not feeling the match. I don't know quite what it is. I'm not 100% sold on Lyra being a champion. That just might be the fact that I haven't seen a lot from Lyra in the past. It could be a good match. Roxanne Perez does have skills. Lyra has the in-ring skills. I'm just not feeling that heat there. So paint me wrong at Stand Deliver. Put on a banger match. That's really all I got to say about the whole
Yeah.
rivalry that's going on right now.
They're two good talents. I think the match will be good, and we'll see who comes out on top with that one. The fifth match of the night was Josh Briggs versus Duke Hudson, and Ava had said that there was implications, something in store for the winner of this match. My favorite part was Dijak was on commentary. He is just everywhere. He doesn't get just one moment. Nope, he gets more than one now. He is that big of a deal, in my opinion.
Hey, they're listening to the fans, the signs everywhere that are
Yep.
saying push Dijak. They're listening. We want more Dijak. Get him out there as often as you can. I think he's killing it.
Yep. The match itself was pretty good. Duke Hudson, this is actually the first time I think I can remember seeing him in singles competition, and Duke Hudson moves really well for a big guy. He looked really good to me. It was a really good match between him and Briggs. The big spot for me was the big superplex off the top rope that Briggs hit on Duke Hudson. Anything else kind of stand out to you here?
For two big men going out of the ring, because Josh is a big man, Duke's a big man. They're both, I would assume, over 6'5". They're both big guys, and they put on a banner match. I mean, sometimes we get two big men in the ring, it's a little sloppy. Things it's a little slow paced. It was fast paced. It had hard hitting action, great spots. And Duke looked amazing. I was really impressed with Duke. I mean, everything Chase U. I asked me a month and a half ago, I would have told you Chase U. Who the hell are these guys? But I'm all over the Chase U train. I love them. They're a great faction, and everybody's doing their jobs. And yeah, everybody came out a winner in this match because Josh looked great, Duke looked great, Dijak did his part, and this was really just setting up the Josh versus Dijak feud along with Mr. Oba.
Yep, that's what we get to. Josh Briggs does win with a clothesline from hell. Oba Afemi appears and says he has finally found two worthy opponents for his title, and it is announced that we a triple threat for the North American Championship at Stand and Deliver. And moving on, we get to a backstage quick segment, two quick segments actually. It is officially announced Metaphor. They were hijacking the production truck, doing some weird camera angles. And they were announced to be the hosts for Stand and Deliver, and then they will be hosting next week. That Lyra Valkyrie and Roxanne Perez will appear as special guests on the Supernova sessions. That will be a part of next week. And we also get the announcement that Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams will have a final face-to-face confrontation before Stand and Deliver. Now there's another thing I almost forgot about. Ariana Grace and your girl Gigi Dolan. The makeover apparently is happening for Gigi, and she's trying to find an outfit for Gigi to wear. I'm really intrigued to see what ends up there.
Who
I find it hard to believe Gigi actually is going to undergo a makeover from Ariana Grace, but we'll see.
who in their right mind thought Gigi needs a makeover? But I like it. We all know that Ariana comes from a family of great gimmicks.
Yes.
This whole Miss NXT thing, I think she's killing it at it. And this Gigi angle, if she can put Gigi in a dress, I mean, that's not a horrible thing. Let's just say that. So it's cool. I like it. I like these little segments. They're fun. The outcome of it is obviously going to be a little wild. I honestly don't know what to expect from it, but I can't wait to see the outcome.
From Ariana Grace to her boyfriend, Stax, getting some love from Ilya Dragunov backstage. Ilya said he was impressed by Stax, and he was expecting Tony to show up after the match, but he didn't. And then Luca Cristofano invites Dragunov to a pre-Stand and Deliver dinner next week, but it will not be at the D'Angelo family restaurant, as Ilya opens up the letter given to him by Luca, still selling the injured hand. That's just how fantastic he is. We'll get that next week on the final episode of NXT. That leads us into the main event of the evening, the Wolf Dogs taking on the Alpha Academy. The stipulation was if the Alpha Academy do win, they will get inserted into the NXT Tag Team title match. It will become a triple threat if Alpha Academy is to pull off the win. And this match was one of those greatest hits, in my opinion. Otis looked good. Tozawa had a really, really fast start, looking fantastic, and then the tides turned, and Braun Breaker is the truth. We got it on the SmackDown vignette last week, and man, I'm really excited for Braun to move up to the main roster and just continue doing what he's doing, because he had some crazy, crazy spots in this match.
Yeah, no, the match was good. Otis looked great. Tozawa, people don't sleep on Tozawa. This guy has a pretty historic wrestling career. He was in Dragon Gate for a lot of his career from 2005 to nearly 2016. WWE 205, he put on some banner matches down in 205. He was a 24/7 champion for on and off for 3 years. He's been around. He's done his things. I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, he was also ranked number 92 of the top 500 single wrestlers in 2018 by Pro Wrestling Illustrated. So he's no slouch in the ring. But in the end, we all knew where this was going. Braun Breaker is the man. And the spots in this match were. Also, a word for Otis there. You were mentioning that too. That power, the assisted power bomb to Otis through the table looked like a rough landing, but Otis, I'm sure, is hopefully 100% fine from that. But
he looked to be all right.
Yeah, but the Braun is just so good. Everything he does in the ring is perfect. The pop-up cutter, the speed, everything Braun just looks amazing every time he's in the ring.
Where he is in like chair and Tozawa goes from the top rope to kick him, but instead, as Braun is on top of the shoulders of Otis, Tozawa jumps and Braun catches him for like a scoop body slam off the shoulders of Otis onto the mat. Was incredible, as you said. The cutter. The match ends after they put Otis through a table. Baron Corbin hits Tozawa with a power bomb after Tozawa went for a Hurricane Rana, sets up Braun Breaker to hit him with the spear for the 1, 2, 3, and then we get a just like a preview of next week and potentially Stand and Deliver. The Good Brothers show up, the LWO, Nathan Frazier and Axiom. Just a big brawl as we go off the air. Next week it'll be the Good Brothers versus the LWO versus Nathan Frazier and Axiom to determine who will face the Wolf Dogs at Stand and Deliver. I got a good feeling it's going to be the Good Brothers, though.
100%. I think the Good Brothers come out on top, but that match should be amazing because Axiom, Nathan Frazier, they can go. Cruz and
Del Toro, yes.
Cruz, Del Toro, and Joaquin Fisher, they can.
Yep, Walking Wild.
Go.
Walking Wild.
Walking Wild.
Yes.
Why am I Fisher? I was gonna say Joaquin Phoenix. So I mean, that could have been worse. I mean, the Joker. But anyways, nonetheless, we got it. All those guys can go, but obviously they're definitely setting up the Good Brothers versus Braun and Corbin. So, yeah, I mean, what more can you say? It's going to be a good match nonetheless, but we pretty much know who's coming out on top.
We will find out next week on NXT. We are ever so close to Stand and Deliver and WrestleMania. Stand and Deliver will kick off WrestleMania weekend at noon my time. What time is that in Canada for you? Will it?
Dude, you act like I'm in Australia or something. I'm West Coast. I'm 3 hours behind you, man.
That's what it is. So
9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, you get a 9 a.m. start.
Yeah.
Really, really excited. Really looking forward to NXT next week. And it's going to be fun. Wrestling is awesome right now. It's amazing to watch. NXT put on another fantastic show and did what they had to do. They built for Stand and Deliver, and we will all get it figured out next week on NXT. With that being said, I am Kurt. That is RK. Thank you so much for tuning in to us here on Top Rope Renegades with the NXT results. We have now completed the all the wrestling we watch. We've done a review for every episode once this one gets up and posted. We're going to keep on rolling with it. We will be doing the AEW Dynamite tomorrow. And big things coming. Really excited for it. And hopefully it gets us to a star rating of some sort, I assume, right?
Dave's going to notice us one of these days. But we just got to get in that Tokyo Dome, man, and we'd be a 5-star podcast.
Cheers to that, brother.